Thank you for being here. I truly appreciate you all taking the time to join me for this first episode. In life, we all have ideas and dreams. We picture what we want and see all the things that stand in our way. So I am grateful for you joining me as I embark on one of those dreams. And I thought it only fitting that the first panel be about that specific issue, having a dream, seeing the obstacles, and doing it anyway. All right, our first guest is April Fellows, author of the dystopian science fiction masterpiece Empire series. Um, Extermination of an Empire is the first book. Ashes of an Empire is book two, which amazing, amazing, amazing. Um, it all started with Goodbye, comes out May 24th, I believe, which is contemporary romance.
Yes, it is contemporary military romance.
Right. And you are also queen of swag. You make stickers, magnets, all the things, right?
Yeah, I forgot it in my car. I'm sorry. Yes. Something possessed me, and I took it out to my car to take it to work. For whatever reason, it's still there.
But you are the queen of all things bookish. So you are our first guest. And then we have Miss Kate Prada. And she is the salty housewife, craft mama from the East Coast. She's the author of the Ink in Trouble series, which is the Black Rose and the Bleeding Hearts. I only have Black Rose. I got to get Bleeding Hearts still. She's also the author of the Wraith series. I have Wraith. Still got to get Shadow, which is book two, and Rebels and Queens. But you also have a bunch of planners. I want the author planner, really, really bad. But I saw you had a couple of other ones, and you do like aprons and all kinds of things. You make signs out of wood, and you just amazing things. Like every craft you can think of, Kate makes. So, and I think you have a children's book out there too, under another name. So you want to get those. Our third guest. Hold on. I gotta get the muscles for this one. Third guest is Elisabeth Garner. She's the master of many things.
So many
She's
things.
a graphic designer, formatter, editor, author of the Love Prevails series, and the Gorgeous Armed and Dangerous series.
Don't fall.
Please don't hurt yourself.
There's a couple I still need to get. There's a couple of novellas I think I still gotta get. Anyway, and she's got a couple more coming out this year.
Yeah. I'm gonna get yelled at this year, so it's gonna be fun.
Anyway, look, this is a lot, okay? This is just a lot. She could probably fly a plane, and if she couldn't, she'd just call her dad, because he can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then our last guest here is book lover, author interview extraordinaire, and author supporter, event planner, hype person extraordinaire, owner and operator of Chaos and Booktalk, the TikTok channel, IG channel, Facebook, as well as the organizer of the highly successful Booked in Chaos event in South Carolina, Miss Shelly Bond. So, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Oh, by the way, I'm Tarta.
Kind of
Author.
She also has a stack of books about
yeah. Yeah, they're over there.
I'm not holding them, but the whole like MC series.
Okay, so now that I got through all that, I can probably put these back on. Okay. Trying to read while doing that was not okay. Okay. So I will be more professional next time, Brenda. Okay, so our topic today is I did it anyway. So basically, we all have a dream, and on the path to that dream, you hit obstacles, mountains, things that will tell you, no, you can't do this. And many people will stop and just turn back. So, first, I want to know, what was that dream for all of you? Was it being an author? Was it something else? Who wants to go first?
I'll go. Why not? Um, I never really had a set dream. I always thought, it'd be really cool if I could pull off like, Stephanie Meyer had a dream and she wrote it. That'd be so cool. I would write my dreams. Nothing panned out. Like nothing. And it wasn't until I had my daughter, like 3 months postpartum, all of a sudden the dream happened. And in my mind I could see this book just going forever and just hitting the market and being like, wow. So immediately I went to researching while thinking, I'm going to write the greatest book ever, greatest book ever. I found what's left of my notebook with the OG manuscript. This is literally, I would write this on my breaks because I was working full time. I was a new mother, still trying to get my feet underneath me and trying to figure any of this out. And I think the biggest wall was trying to figure out, number one, how do I want to publish? Do I want to fight that traditional thing? Do I want to go self-publishing? And initially, I wanted to fight for self-publishing because in my head, that was the only way it was going to be feasible for me to make it to where I could be that author.
Mm-hmm.
And the closer the story got to actually coming closer to fruition, the less appealing that started to look. And I think the biggest nail in the coffin for that journey was a dear friend of mine was picked up by a small publisher. And it was more of a small hybrid press. And the lack of control and the grief and anxiety she had to go through to meet their parameters. For me, it just said, okay, well, I get no say. I have to do just as much marketing. I have to do all this extra work on top of it. What are you really offering here?
Right.
And so I kind of met my hype squad. All these gorgeous ladies here that are fantastic and amazing authors in and of themselves. And yes, Shelly, you count. And
she wrote something.
See, yes, ma'am, you count.
I have proof.
And I decided, if I'm not going to be given any say in how my book is going to go, I'm going to publish at the fork anyway. And y'all ain't going to stop me.
That's right. What about you, Kate?
You know that scene in Office Space where he's talking about his high school guidance counselor and how if you had $1 million, like, what would you do with it? And he's like, I never had an answer. Yeah, about that. I fell into this accidentally. I just had a really bad bout of insomnia that lasted a couple years, and the only thing that helped deal with it was to get up in the middle of the night and start writing. And before I knew it, I had 2.5, 3 books done. One of them was completely written out of spite. And just from there, it just is like one step after the next. Like I had never had any intention of publishing anything. And then it was like, well, maybe I could do this. And I think at this point, like my dreams are kind of small in comparison, but they're still like, there's a lot of things I want to accomplish. Like just like, as we were talking earlier, like we're moving again. And it's really hard to like say like, I'm going to go do this big author event, or I'm going to do this, because we don't know where we're going to be from one year to the next. And so I think by the end of the year, I'd like to do some sort of event. I'd like to start having more signed copies. I'd like to actually maybe start like acting like a real author instead of cosplaying one.
That starts with just doing it.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
So, like this, I said this year it's going to be about me doing what I want. Screw it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that's somewhat difficult when you're moving left and right, east and west, but maybe pick one event and just say, no matter where we are, I'm
Yeah.
going. You know?
Yeah. I think once we get to where we're going, I'll have a little bit more support. So instead of, because a lot of people actually reached out this summer and they're like, hey, there's a big book event in Connecticut. Like it's, you're where you are. And I'm like, that's great and all. My son in absolutely no way will behave at something like that. And I don't have a babysitter. So at least after this summer, I'll start having babysitters and I won't have to like do the juggle of like, well, I could go, but I run the risk of an 8-year-old just being over it. Like,
Right.
so.
What about you, Elizabeth?
I am an enigma wrapped in chaos. I am from the school of how hard could it be, and it started off with the pandemic. I'm like, okay, the kids are going back to school, and I had every anticipation of like 2 weeks later they were going to be back at home again. I was going to be a stay-at-home teacher, and I'm like, okay, cool. How much can I get written in 2 weeks? And they stayed open another week, and I was like, keep writing. And I just kept it going. And then I'm like, oh, I need a cover. I'm like, well, how hard can it be? A little harder. But like, I just kept like, I can do this because I'm very stubborn. And I was like, no, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And then I did it. And I was like, oh God, I did it. And then I'm like, now what do? I just kept doing the thing because I'm like, well, I did it once. Can I do it again? Yeah, okay. And then I, make a stack of books that knocked Tara over. And I just kept going. And then someone else was like, hey, can you do this for me? And I was like, sure. Why not? Shelly gives me, 2 words. Here, make a cover. And I was like, ha,
And
okay,
it's
sure, cool.
gorgeous. It's all the way over there. And I have a cast on my leg. Thank you.
But I'm very stubborn. Like, how hard could it be? It's I don't know if it was a Shelly question or who asked it, but it's like, how do you, or no, maybe it was a Shelly question. Shelly has a penguin question. It's like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It's like, well, let me just try this. Let me just keep breaking off little pieces. I can do this, right? Right? Sure, why not? And I just keep taking little bites, and then I'm going, what did I do? Oh
I
God,
think
here we are.
something we all have in common.
Mm-hmm.
How hard could it be? I think each one of us on the screen could. We've all said it at one point, or 12 million. What about you, Shelly?
Well, I'm saying this with a little bit of a different perspective. Am I going for y'all?
It's a little like cutting in and out.
Mine's echo.
I don't know.
What happened?
Oh, now you're
How do I
fine.
fix it? Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's weird. When I talk, I have to turn the volume off. Um, I don't know. So mine's a little bit different because I was going through a really, really dark time and I started reading again. I haven't read in probably 10 years or more than. And then I got on Book Talk and I watched people interview authors and I was like, hey, that would be kind of cool. Let me see if I can try. And I reached out and I was on some art teams. One of them was a literal brand new author. My very first interview, like it was her debut book. She had like just came out. And I had formed a relationship with her and she said yes. And I was like, okay, we're doing this. And then I reached out to a couple more. And then I put this random video after the first of the year when I was like running out of authors because listen, y'all can be a little bit scary at first. I didn't know how to approach anybody, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. So I made this like random video saying, "Hey, who wants to come talk to me?" The response that I got was absolutely insane, and I had so much fun. Um, my first year, I think I ended up with like 130 something interviews. I've learned to manage my time a little bit better now. That was definitely something that I was not prepared for, but I had so much fun. And I loved like towards the end of the year, I had authors that were reaching out to me saying, "Hey, I've got this release for the holidays. I'd really like to come back and talk to you." And I was like, "You want to come back and talk to me? Like me?" Um, and so then I went to Sinful Signings. They invited me as an influencer, and I got to attend my very first book event. And I thought it was a lot of fun. And I came back and I was like, you know, we did a massive giveaway for Chaos and Book Talk's first year. It would be really cool to do like a little signing for the second year because I know some authors that live locally, and we were going to have a luncheon. It was going to be a luncheon in the spring, and we were going to discuss if maybe we would want to do a signing in November. 2 weeks later, I'm making a sign up sheet, and there's a whole event happening. And
You had some
then there was marketing,
free
and I don't know
time
how to market. I
on
just
a
came on here and talked about books.
Tuesday.
And so yeah, it turned into a snowball. But when I got into this, the whole reason I started reviewing books on this was because I had a difficult time and books got me through that, getting yourself lost in that. So my only goal when I came on here was to hopefully recommend a book to somebody that they got that same experience with. And I will tell you, there was a moment at Booked in Chaos. It was absolutely crazy. And I was behind a curtain at the front. So, like, I couldn't really see out on the floor where I stepped around the corner. And everything that I had done online for the last 2 years, I was looking at in person. Like, there were readers connecting with, I'm not going to lie, some of my favorite authors. I may have been a little bit spoiled for my first event, and I had a lot of friends that came to support me. And I am so grateful for that. But being able to connect readers with all these authors that I have gotten to know on a personal level and just seeing them enjoying themselves and leaving with so many books and just so happy. That right there is what I wanted more than anything in this world. And that was like the coolest thing. So again, how hard could it be? We decided to double for next year. So, we're just jumping right in here.
Well, my favorite Shelly moment is the fact that you yelled at me the first time I met I met you. Like literally yelled at me. All because I didn't answer my phone. I love you anyway. For
You're
me,
muted, Shelly.
you're muted.
It keeps blinking at me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you. See, what happened was we were out on the back road in the middle of Tennessee on some mountains, and I didn't know where I was. I had very little service. I was so lost and confused. I wasn't trying to yell. I think it was more excitement that I saw life.
She was like, why do you give out your number if you're not going to answer your phone?
Facts.
She didn't even
No,
say
That
it.
will forever be the
first.
first time I ever met her in person.
I love it.
And then Brooke almost got us unlived at a stop sign, but that's okay. That was that car ride. That one. Anyway.
For a second, I thought you said that was bad.
I did. Because it's echoing in my ear. Anyway. So, what was my dream? My dream was to be a teacher. Which I now know that dropping out of college was whatever higher powers intervention, because I don't have that kind of patience for other people's children. Other people's children that I love and care about, like Elisabeth's daughter or April's daughter, or even Shelly's kids that I barely know. Kate's son, I would love and adore and spoil beyond belief.
You say that.
And I would encourage rambunctiousness beyond belief. But other people's kids, I don't have that kind of patience. So, intervention, right? Like blessing in disguise. I wrote 11 books before I realized I could publish them. Yeah. So there's that. So we all took different journeys. We all have different lifestyles. We all have our own struggles. Um, what were the obstacles that you ran into? I know April touched on a few of them with the publishing. Um, what was something that you ran into that maybe made you question whether or not you could do whatever you were trying to do?
Eleven. Like, getting information. Because I was just like, oh, I'm gonna write a story, and then what? And so I just started like looking, like finding authors, and going, what are they doing? What are they doing? Because I didn't realize self-publishing was a thing. And I'm like, what does the querying process look like? And I know it's long, but and so I'm just like, I needed to gather info because I was diving in knowing nothing. I'm like, come on, I need to be educated. Let's find out the information. And then I found I could self-publish. I'm like, well, what does that look like? More research. And then I was like, oh wait, I can do that now. I don't have to wait, 1+ years of querying and then 1+ year and it could be 4 years. My book might still not be on a shelf, or I could do it myself and go. But it was just finding the information, getting connected to the right people, building the team that you're like, oh, I need one of those too. Oh, snap. Where do I find that person? Like, you just gotta like, I like you. I'm going to collect you now. And I like you. And you just start gathering people and hope that it works.
What about you, April? Anything else?
One wall I always ran into was, how the fork do I find the time? Because I was working full time, still am, and I was trying to juggle trying to write stories with taking care of my home, my family, and holding down a full time job and finding where everything freaking goes. And then on top of all that, trying to get my creativity moving enough to say, okay, plot hole, how do we fix it?
Mm-hmm. What about you, Kate?
Um, well, the whole like the self-publishing thing, trying to figure that all out, and the information of that was definitely a big thing. But um, it's our lifestyle. It makes it incredibly difficult to just start to finish it. Like when I started writing, we were living in Delaware. Um, and then I was in Washington State, and now I'm in Connecticut, and now we're about to leave again. Um, and so I'll either get to the point where I'm like rushing, trying to just shove a book out there. Like I think Rebels and Queens, I had put it in an anthology, and when I got it back, I kind of um, I expanded it. It went from 10,000 words to like 25,000 words. But it was like if I don't publish this book today, or like I think it was August 1st, I published it. I was like, then we're going to be on the road, and then it's going to be a month before we get our stuff, and then we're not going to be settled. I don't even know where anything's going to happen. There's no way I'm going to be able to promote this. Like, so like I think I've rushed a few things just because like it just the sheer amount of time that like is just lost in the shuffle. Um, and then we are a single income family, so it's like I don't feel like I have a huge budget. So I've never actually paid for an editor.
So resources.
Yeah, I've done all my own covers. I've taken the photographs for all my own covers because I'm like, I don't know how like licensing on pictures work. So I'll just panic and take my own photo of something.
Deposit photos. That's where we go.
Yeah. But so I like it's gotten to the point where I've pulled up YouTube and my iPad, and I figured out how to do my own character art. I've since lost that ability because my child has claimed my iPad as his. So there's that. It's also just because we move around so much, we're so far away from everybody. You land someplace new. Post COVID and in your 40s, it is hard to make in real life friends. So I have absolutely no village. I was on a live on TikTok last week or whatever, and I'm sitting there like trying to have this whole thing with like a bunch of different authors, and my kid's standing there staring at me, and it's like, Mom, was there 2 Punic Wars or 3? I'm like, you just like he's so smart, and he's like really into history right now. So it's like you're just trying to work, you're trying to do whatever, and it's just like World War I did this, and the Napoleonic Wars were blah 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 blah, and then Carthage fell. And I'm like, it's kind of hard when you're trying to like, and then she met him in this meet cute or whatever, and it's just Napoleon, blah 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 blah. So there's a lot of distractions, a lot of just if I don't sit down and try to write in the middle, like there's people out there that has to be perfectly quiet, have to have the right environment, have to be sitting in there. I'm like, dude, I don't get it done now with all of the shit that's going on, like it's not getting done. So
yeah,
learning how to manage my time, like learning how to just make hay while the sun shines, I guess. Like
The way you stuff stuff into those stolen moments.
yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Shelly?
Am I still echoing?
No, you're good.
Okay. The first thing I had that I struggled with is in trying to figure out is that I cannot do it by myself. Because honestly, I had a lot of support giving me information. Like I was very fortunate in that because I had you girls because you guys had done TGAT. I had the ladies from Central Signings and Cuffed in Chicago and Books and Bourbon. I had all those ladies who had planned events and were willing to give me all the information, but they cannot do it for me. So struggling to do that and realizing that I needed help because it really does take a village to make it work. And I'm fortunate enough that C.L. Ledford, God bless her, because we would not have an anthology without her because I don't know the first thing about formatting. Okay. I know that whenever I read books, they look pretty and y'all did fantastic. But how you got there, no clue. She knows how to put them together. And then from there, she calls herself my voluntold. Um, she is way more than that. She is way more than that. Because I definitely could not have done it by myself. On the day of, I was being pulled in like 50 million directions. And I was so grateful that I had listened when I was told, you cannot do this by yourself. And I was like, I know I can't, help me. Because I had people there that were willing to show up and show out. Like Desi came from California. She has had success with simple signings. And there was a moment where Desi just kind of took my hand and was like, take a deep breath. We got this. Now let's go. And I was like, yes, ma'am. No clue what I'm doing, but I followed. But yeah, learning that you cannot do it by yourself. I know Kate said she's limited on her village, but I have leaned on a lot of people virtually that I have never met in real life that have become such good friends because there's no, like, I don't know the first thing about marketing. I get on here and I talk about books and I tell y'all my opinions.
That is marketing.
Okay, but when you're marketing an event, like I'm trying to essentially sell something to somebody and trying to get them there. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I clueless. I don't know how to, like, I know how to make graphics about books and it sounds like it would be the same thing, but it's not. Making a graphic for an event and making graphics for a book are two different things, especially when it's your first event and you really don't know what it's going to look like. Um, so definitely trying to figure that out. And thankfully we got readers there, but I was worried there for a while. I was like, oh God, did I make a mistake? Should I cancel this? But wait, no, I can't cancel this. I have all these people coming to South Carolina. We have to do this. So yeah, those two things, marketing and learning you can't do it by yourself, were definitely big challenges for us. Well, for me.
For me, it was fear of failure, but also fear of success. Fear of success. Both of them. Um, I know it sounds ridiculous, but those
It's a thing.
Mhm.
I I struggled with both of those the most. Um, because what if nobody reads it? But what if they do? um, because the rest of it, I'm stubborn. I'll figure it out. And I have.
Yep.
But those you can't control. I'm a control freak, so I can figure out the rest. I can't control that. So those were mine. Um Now, for anyone that is staring at a dream and they're taking those first few steps and they are staring at that obstacle, what advice would you give them?
Do it scared.
Mhm.
Do it scared. Expect it to go off the rails. It's not going to be perfect. And if it is perfect, I have questions that I would like answers to. It's gonna be a
When
mess.
do you not
That's,
have questions?
I have lots of questions always.
Hold on. Hold on, I have a prop.
I have questions.
I need that.
Need one too.
The other side.
I hit her with one yesterday.
But it's gonna be messy. And it's supposed to be messy. Whatever it is you're doing, it's gonna be a mess at first.
Mhm.
I forgot who. I don't know where I heard this example. Somewhere on the internet. It's the, yeah, like, let's say you have 39 years of experience as a human, but it's like, how many years of experience do you have as an author, as whatever? You've won. What 1-year-old has mastered anything? And it's like, oh, well, yeah, you put it like that. It's like, you're going to
fine.
get to be a mess at first.
So what you're saying is I'm a kindergartner. I don't know what I just said because it
You're a
echoed,
kindergartner, yeah.
but okay.
A lot of us are, pending when you start counting the years of experience, we're in elementary school, maybe middle school. So here we are. We're still figuring it out.
Is that why I started napping again?
I love naps.
I know, right?
Yeah, they're glorious. Why do our kids fight them? Why?
My advice is give yourself grace. You're going to stumble.
Yeah.
It's just, do you pick yourself back up? Because you should. Pick yourself back up. Take the next step. Keep going. It's never going to be perfect the first time.
And you don't have to do it fast either.
No.
Yeah.
Go slow.
You can do it as slow as you want.
I feel like there's this huge race. Everyone's like, I gotta get all these books out. I gotta be successful now. I gotta do this. And it's like, 2024 is just the lost year. And I managed to get a book out in October, but I'm like, I'm not marketing right now. These books aren't going anywhere. Like, they're out there. And like, it kind of like a few of my author friends are like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. I'm tired. Like, I'll talk about them later, in a couple months when I get my shit together. Like, they're not going anywhere. So it's like it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like, it's okay to go slow. Like, there's going to be people out there just cranking out one book a month and just book after book, and they got these huge series, and they got 3 series 2 years in. Awesome. Hell yeah, get after it. I am the tortoise in this tortoise in the hare situation.
That's okay.
Yeah. Like,
everyone
so, I mean,
has their process.
Yeah.
Doesn't make you any less an author.
Right. My advice, I gotta steal it from my kids' aphorisms in the morning because I almost live this myself because I don't want to live with regrets. I want to do the thing and say I did it. And so every morning, my daughter has an aphorism. I ask her immediately, what kind of a day are you going to have? I'm going to have a good day because it's my choice and I deserve one. Well, without realizing I did it, I asked myself, well, am I going to publish this book? Yes, I am, because I deserve it. And I decide.
What about you, Shelly? What do you got?
Mine's going to sound a little bit morbid, but hear me out, okay? I am a background, okay? So mine is all bleeding stops eventually. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, and they look at me like I have 5 heads. But listen, eventually, it's like things are going to smooth.
EMT.
Exactly, but in all honesty, it goes for anything. All bleeding stops eventually. Everything, the chaos will settle. You just have to get through the hard parts, and when you do, getting to the other side is the best part. But you just have to take that moment, take a breath, and remember, all bleeding stops eventually. It's probably not book. Yeah.
May I use that sometime?
That is I do not have a patent or copyright on that.
You can only say it in Natasha.
All bleeding stops eventually.
Thank you.
It works. It works.
Okay, ladies.
We don't want it.
Well, I appreciate you all showing up. Oh, goodness. Hold on.
It's the echo.
I appreciate you all showing up for this first episode of Start the Time podcast. And hopefully I will have you guys back. I had fun. And this was a little chaotic and crazy, but it's me. So you guys
Or for the course.
probably expected
Probably
that.
are.
That's when the most fun happens.
Yeah,
I live for chaos.
But
Quiet is
Right.
boring.
Right?
I think that's why we all became
But I-
indies.
Right?
I love you all. And thank you very much for coming. And I will tag all of you and put all of your things in the description. And I love you and thank you.
We love you.